Hej Vestborg Skule. Kort andakt igen. Det heter Back from the Dead. President Trump and Arnold Solberg have both targeted the 13th of April, that's a Monday, the Monday after Easter weekend, as hopefully a return back to normal life. And we can hope for that, we really do. But it can remind us also of the great Easter themes on Easter Friday of death and on Easter Sunday of resurrection life. Maybe you're feeling at the moment that some of your dreams, some of your hopes about how you would want to spend your time have been shattered, they're broken. Some of them might seem dead. But we can have hope in the gospel message. There are two men on the road to Emmaus who had their hopes destroyed. They were two disciples of Jesus Christ. They were walking along the road and they were sad, and then this man came and spoke to them and said, What is it you're speaking about, and why are you so sad? And they said to him, haven't you heard? This man Jesus, we were following him and he did amazing things. He was a great prophet. But the religious people, they came and they took him and they crucified him, and he's now dead. What's more, we had hoped that he would come and be our king in Jerusalem, and we'd be reigning with him and we'd be free with him. Completely dead hope. And you might be able to relate to them. But what you don't realize is that this man came and spoke to them, and he wanted to speak to them about resurrection life. So how can this Easter be transformed? So we've talked about death a little bit, but Easter also has the theme on the Sunday of Jesus rising from the grave. How could this Easter actually be one of the best Easters that you've ever had? We need to take some inspiration from Moses in the Old Testament and Philip in the New Testament. Moses was fed up. Moses was frustrated. He didn't want to carry on as a leader until God would show him his glory. In fact, he said to God, I'm not going any further until you show me your glory. And amazingly, God hid Moses in a rock. You can read this in 2 Moses chapter 33. He hid Moses in a rock and he passed by. He allowed Moses to see a glimpse of God's glory, and that changed and transformed Moses, and he was ready to be a leader again. And what about Philip in the New Testament? Been following Jesus for a while and never fully understood what it meant. And Jesus kept saying, I'm going to go, I'm going to leave you, I'm going to go to my Father. And Philip said, show us the Father. Two great things we can pray to God about. God, show us your glory at this time. God, show us that you're Father at this time. How is God going to do that? Well, Jesus said to Philip, if you've seen me, you've seen the Father. So God is going to point you to Jesus. He's going to point you to the Jesus who we read about in the Gospels, who came, Emmanuel, our God with us. He came for us. The same Jesus who, when he was dying on the cross, shouted out, it is finished. He died for us. John 3:16. For God so loved the world that he gave his only and begotten Son, that whoever believes in him shall not perish, but have everlasting life. But he didn't just come for us, and he didn't just die for us. He did something else amazing for us as well. When the women went to the tomb, when they went to the grave after Jesus had died, they expected to see a dead body, but they couldn't find anything. And then the angel said to them, why are you looking for the living amongst the dead? He's not here. He's risen. You see, we don't have a dead message. We have a message of resurrected and resurrection life. That's the great news about the gospel. So let me leave you with some 3 tips about how this Easter could transform your walk with God, how you might be able to see his glory, how you might be able to see him more as Father. Read the 3 Gospels, Matthew, Mark, Luke and John. In the final 2 chapters of each of those books, they'll tell you about Jesus being arrested, Jesus dying on the cross, and the resurrection story. If you want a bit more detail, look at possibly John's Gospel, where chapter 19 and 20 and 21, they'll go into that story in a bit more detail. Get online. There are churches now that realizing we have a message of life, and they're starting to do church completely differently and put in sermons online. Check out NLM's website. Go to your favorite church and check out their websites, but especially on Easter Sunday, get online and position yourself to hear a sermon about the death of Jesus and the resurrection of Jesus. What about if you have a car get into a car park where they have a church online. A big screen is set up and cars can drive in and hear church. I heard last week in Xi'an that they did this and 250 cars turned up at the car park. That's amazing. So if you have a car, try and get to that place. If you don't have a car, then again, get online and you can just check out the sermon there. So position yourself, put yourself in a place where you can hear from God this Easter. We're really looking forward to you coming back. You can come back to Vestborg better, not bitter. And you can come back to Vestborg actually as resurrected people, not dead people. And probably, possibly, that the final 2 months at Vestborg could actually be much better than they'd ever been if we just had normal life. Stay safe. We miss you. We're really looking forward to seeing you again. Ask God to show him his glory. Ask God to show you resurrected life. In Jesus' name we'll pray for you and continue to pray for you. Amen.